Jennifer. I'm the farm manager here at Blandford, and I'm here to show you how to tap trees for the sugar bush season. So what we have here is a stump, and not an actual maple tree stump at that, but that's just because right now it is too cold to actually tap a maple tree, and I don't want to damage any living tree. So we are using this stump as an example, so you'll just have to use your imagination and think of it as a living, beautiful maple tree. So before you decide on which tree to tap, you want to identify that it's a maple tree, and you also want to determine that it's the right size, because if you tap a tree that's too small, you might actually hurt the tree because of the amount of sap that you're taking to make syrup. So you want to make sure that a tree is at least 10 inches in diameter to sustain one tap. If a tree is larger than that, a general rule of thumb is, you go in increments of 10. So if you're 20 inches in diameter, you could maybe have 2 taps on the same tree, and so on and so forth. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of the trees that we're going to be tapping this year have been tapped in the past. So you want to look for a small, little belly button looking scar, circular scar on the tree from where it was tapped before. And you want to be about 6 inches away from that on a diagonal, so you don't accidentally girdle the tree by having too many taps right in a row. That could restrict the sap flow that tree needs for a whole section of branches if you're not careful. So I like to think about it as like hang loose sign. You find the old scar, let's just pretend one's right here, and then you want to go at a diagonal, so that you know you're not going to limit the amount of sap a tree needs for a certain part of the trunk. Once you've determined where you want to tap the tree, then you're ready to begin. But before we start, I want to introduce some of the tools that we use. So this is a very old-fashioned tool called a brace and bit. A lot of farmers and people who tap trees as a hobby will use an actual power tool for this, and that works too, but these are just really fun. We have them, and it's also a little more gentle on the tree. And the purpose of this is this drill bit is going to take us it's going to drill a hole into the tree, through the bark, into the sapwood, which is going to allow us to access the sap flow that happens in the spring. We use a spile which will fit into the hole, and there's a hook that attaches into the spile that will keep the bucket in place. In case you ever need to get the hook on, the easiest way to do that is to put the hook on from the back and then rotate it through the hole at the top of the spile with the hook pointing the same way as the spout. We're going to try to have these put together for you, but sometimes they fall apart as the bucket gets jostled as you carry it from point A to point B. This is called the spile driver, and this is what you use to tap the spile firmly into the hole that you've drilled. So you can see that there's kind of like a skinny end and a thicker end, and you want to put the skinny end into the spile and tap this end with a mallet or hammer, which you'll also have in your kit. It's very important to tap this into the right way, because if you don't, it will get stuck. And I cannot get this out despite my best efforts. So let this be a warning to you all. This is what happens if it goes in the wrong way. Not the end of the world, but I'm gonna have to destroy the spile in order to be able to use the spile driver again. The other note about spile drivers is that they are very easy to lose. They are shaped like a torpedo, and if you drop them in the snow, you will lose them and we will never see them again. Just be very mindful when you're using them that you're not thinking about 5 other things and joking with your friends at the same time, because if you're not paying attention, it's very easy to lose these. So as I mentioned, you'll have a mallet or a hammer, which you can use to tap the spile driver into the spile to secure it into the hole that you drill. And then you're going to have a 5-gallon bucket with a hole in the side that can attach to the hook. And you're going to have a lid to put on top of the bucket. Because the sap is 3 to 5% sugar, and most of the rest of it is water at the best of times in the season, that roof just helps us to keep snow and water out of the bucket, and that makes it more efficient to boil the sap down into syrup. So you will find things like maybe some insects in your sap, as they like the sweet sugary sap that we collect. The roof isn't going to keep those out. It's mainly to keep out extra water. All right, so you have all your materials and you're ready to tap your tree. So what you want to do is find a spot that is either under a large branch or over a large root. That indicates that you're going to have good sap flow. And ideally, if it's facing south, that's great, because that means the sun is going to warm that spot up and you're less likely to have ice form in the spile. Once you find your spot, then you want to drill a hole at a slight upward angle so that sap flow easily flows through and into your bucket. If you drill it down, you're going to make it harder for yourself to collect sap. So what you want to do is called a brace and bit, because you use your body to brace the drill bit against the tree, and then you're going to turn it to the right in order to drill into the tree. So you're drilling and drilling, and you should see little wood shavings coming out. If the tree is cold and sap is frozen, it's going to be harder than if it's a warm day. So if you're having a hard time, it might not be your fault. Just take turns if you have a partner, or take a break if you need to, and then again, just keep at it. You want to drill about 1.5 to 2 inches in, and when you feel like you've got it, then you turn it to the left or the other way to get your brace and bit out of there. Then what you want to do is find a stick nearby to scrape the shavings out. If you don't get the shavings out, they may block some of the sap that's going into your bucket. So once you have that all taken care of and your hole is drilled, you're ready to use your spile driver and mallet to secure the spile to the tree. So what you can do is insert your spile, put in the spile driver, and hold on to the spile driver the entire time. Because it's at that slight angle, if you let go, there's a good chance it's going to fly into the snow, and it's as easy as that to lose the spile driver. You don't have to tap it very hard, but you just tap until you feel like it feels secure. And you give it a little wiggle. That's not going anywhere. And so you're good to go from there. So then next step is to hang the bucket from the tree. It's easier to do this if you put the roof of the bucket on before you put the bucket on the tree. So the way to do this is you hook one side in, then you press the top of the roof down, and it should connect on the other side of the bucket. Then you attach the hook through the hole, and you should be set to go. And then all you have to do after that is check the bucket when you have temperatures that are below freezing at night and above freezing during the day. That weather is when the sap flows, and that's when you'll need to check your buckets. So if you have days like today that are below freezing the whole day, you won't really have to worry about checking your bucket because it's going to be too cold for the sap to flow. But if you're having days that are like 35 to 40 degrees, then that's when you want to be checking your buckets, because that's when you're going to have the most sap flow. Then you attach the hook through the hole, and you should be set to go. So you see what happened there is the spile fell out of the tree. I think it's because this tree is on an angle when I drilled the hole, and then the angle of the hole plus the angle of the tree made it inconvenient to hang the bucket. But if your tree is upright, you will not have the same problem. Although if you do, then you can talk to somebody who's there to help you, and they can help you problem solve in order to set it a little bit better. It might involve re-drilling a little part of your hole so that it has a better fit.